Okay, lastly, we're going to try to make these sphere maps have some form. So we're going to use these value scales. You don't have to use these specific colors, but we're going to make gradation like that. Okay, so just like the graphite ones we've practiced, we're going to go lightest to darkest to the cast shadow. We have to include the reflected light. This is how I'm starting. Okay, I'm starting with the light one. Then I'm going to go back over it in the area with a darker one, then the darkest one, okay, and then a little bit more. Then I'm doing my gradation up and down. Okay, you can do it with 3 warm colors or 3 cool colors, okay? And in the end, you can add a little something in there because you want it to be really about mixing colors, making new colors. All right, so I'm starting out with, I'm going to go for the light blue one. Okay, so I just broke that one, so I'm going to use this. And here we go. I'm going to very softly touch this right up here. We want it to have a little bit of the color, not be just empty white paper. Okay, and I'm using circles because the shape itself is circles. So this is kind of like the lines. Okay, and you could do it in scumbling. You could do it any way you want, but I really like the way the form is created by using the same movement. Okay, now I don't want to get white in that area, and light blue is a tint of blue, so it's already got some white in it. So I want it to be right on the edge, okay, because that's where my reflected light is going to be, okay, and I want it to be right up here. So I can add a little bit more in here, and then I'll go in with my next color, which is going to be the pure basic blue that we start off with in our color wheel. Okay, and I'm going to add just a little bit here to make my gradation as I go away from the light source. I'm going to add more lines, okay, getting closer together, and they are blending up here with that tint of blue. And right down here, I'm just going to use, right on the edge, I'm going to use that pure blue on the edge of this core shadow. Okay. And I'm going to use more of it in that area because that's where we want it to be darkest. Then as we go towards the outside here, even towards the cast shadow, towards that reflected light, we're going to lift up. Okay, so this will help us create that illusion of 3 dimensions. Okay, so all the shadows and highlights have to follow the form. All right, so now I would like to put a little bit more of my light blue in here, and this is starting to mix with the pure blue. Okay, and up in the middle part, I'm going to just use some white to mix with that tint. Okay, and now on the outside, I'm having it mix a little bit. All right, and now I'm going to use, I'm going to get that white in there. Okay, this needs to be cleaned off with a paper towel. And I'm pressing a little harder here. and I'm controlling that line work to go with the form. Okay, now I'm going to have the outside mix with the light blue. That's going to be my reflected light on the edge of the entire form. Okay, and now I'm going to mix with my darker color from the same family. They are analogous to each other. Blue contains the primary, or violet contains the primary blue, and so that's why they are analogous. They're located near each other, but not necessarily right next to each other. I'm going to add some red violet to get even darker in there. So I'm softly going up now, and it's blending a little bit with the lighter blue to get that more gradation. Okay, and just those lines themselves touching each other, overlapping, is what's making them blend. Okay, so we're not pressing too hard. Okay, I'm going on the outside a little bit. All right, and this does have a teeny bit of red violet in it, but I'm going to get even more for a little bit of a different look in here. And I could even add some red at this point. Even though red is a warm color, when it mixes in there, it's gonna give it a little bit more darkness. Okay, so this is actually not too bad. And I'm just spacing the lines apart to give it a little more value without adding any black. But I am going to add a little black, I think. Let me see. I'm going to go back into that. See if I have a different blue handy, or a different violet. This is just taking it off. So that's one thing that will happen. If you have a drier oil pastel, or even if you're working it too much, what's going to happen when you go over it more is it's just going to start lifting up your color. So we want to work on it enough so we know what that point will be, and then back away from it. Okay, so I am going to add a teeny bit of black right in here, just right at that center of the core shadow right there. Okay, and then I'm going to take my blue. No, that's not the right one. I've got a ton of them out here. And then I'm going to take my blue and go on top of it so the black doesn't look like it's just black. It's a dark, deep color. Okay, because pure black and pure white end up giving a flatness, and we're trying to create a 3D quality. Okay, so now I'm going to go right on my edge with a dark color closest to the form, because that's where the shadow that's cast is the darkest. Okay, and then I'm going to lift up as I go out towards the end and have it be slightly lighter. As shadows move away from the form, they get lighter. Okay, so I could almost add anything to spice this up to the shadow. I think I might add a little green in there. Try and play with it. See what looks good. And the opposite of green is red, so I could add a little red and get it to be a more natural color, muted color, because it's a complement. When you mix two complements, you will get a dulled down version of that color. And right now I'm adding in some blue, so that's going back to my violet when I mix it with the red, but I have some of that green in there too. So that's a really nice way of making a dark color, is just make it a little bit duller instead by mixing it with its complement. Alright, so I do like this guy a lot. I'm going to add a little bit of a tint of the color out on the very edge. And if I don't like that, if it's too abrupt, I can go back in and pull this out. Okay, that's my first sphere. I'm going to do another one in